All right, great to see you, Tolemykus, and anybody else that's out there. Hope you had a great week so far. Episode 114, here we go. And right off the bat, Tolemykus, a couple of things I'm going to mention too. Oh, great to see you, Meandering Mike. Hope you're doing well. This is weird. Like I said, I just went to go and, oh, great to see you, Brian R. Smith. I wonder if you probably have the same weather as me. I was out, like yesterday was wonderful, and today I'm like, oh, brother, just cold and wet and very windy. But anyways, let's get into the fun stuff. Okay, Tolemykus, here you go, and I'm really glad you grabbed. But we're going to talk about the trivia thing in a minute because, well, you're void, Tolemykus. Today, I'm sorry. Tolemykus, in a bizarre way, already answered the trivia question. He submitted some material to me, and I just went to go prime up one of the emails for something I want to talk to you guys about later. And then I saw his email, and I went, that's impossible. How the hell? But he had just connected the dots, and I went, oh, my God. Well, so I'll give you some, I don't know what the hell to do with you, Tolemykus. I'm just going to give you bonus points right off the bat because I can't really. But then I was like, well, wait a minute. What happens if Tolemykus started guessing like a maniac, getting points for those, and then also gets the answer? That's not fair to him. But I can't have you starting unless you want to start guessing really bizarre things. But you're gonna, I'm gonna let other people guess it. But I was like, you'll abstain. I know, it freaked me out. I went with, like I said, though, I was actually thinking about giving you the 6 points, and then maybe we'll roll a D6 or something later on. That would be Meandering Mike. It just blew me away. Okay, so let's get let's get to your quote, which is interesting. Stop this now, Meandering Mike. Jeepers jumping. We are going into war upon the command of gold. Senator George W. Norris. April. I know, it freaked me out. I thought you were pulling a William Arends there with the oh my God. And I hope he shows up later on. Leather and lace. Oh my. Now you're really getting me sidetracked. Oh my God, that's like an option F. Anyways, let's get towards this. Back to the quote. We're going into war upon the command of gold. Senator George W. Norris, April 4th, 1917. Some claimed the U.S. was entering the war to protect financial interests, not democracy. And remember, guys, we were seeing this later on. I think it was from The Price of Glory. I'm not really sure. When people started cluing in that when Verdun was not working out for the Germans, and already we could see in the headlines and everything, I mean, it was pretty easy to connect the dots that, for example, the Americans and whatnot were more or less no longer lending much money to the Germans or anything. It was going all towards France and Great Britain. And next thing you know, you could see the mark drop and all kinds of things and so on and so forth. And everybody was like, well, it's because people have clued in that the Central Powers are going to win the war, and the Americans are already starting to get into it. So I'm like really super happy you popped that quote in. Ironically, though, I did notice this week in the headlines, they said the price of gold has dropped. So I don't know if that's in connection with the United States entering the war or not. I'm not sure. I was going to put this in. One man's sidetracked is another man's interesting tangent. Yeah. And like you need any, though. Oh, my God. Or both of us, actually, to be honest with you. All right, let's go through this. I'm going to add this one to this stage, I do believe, and then I can just do this thingamajig. Oh, great to see you, Zoe Dufour. Hope you're doing well, especially with this week. I'm not going to get into it. I'm just saying you've had an interesting week. Oops, that's the wrong thing to show you. I have to maybe remove that, and then I'm going to add that one to the stage. There we go. Okay, great. So 40 days to can games, which is kind of neat to see the 40 days to can games on the site. I'm just going to say this. I know I'll try to get through the full hour of what we want to go to. Yet again, like you were saying, Meandering Mike, here we go on a side note. So setting up a thing of been trying to I am still working and playing in my little narrative game off in Wonderland. And I'm not sure if it was because the fall of Baghdad and now the first battle of Gaza that's happening in real life. And then, of course, with Easter and so on and so forth. And remember, I think way back when, if anybody remembers, for my planned invasion, I wanted to kind of coincide it with the Day of Ascension and all this whatnot. So I was like looking at the Javalkrieg rules for summer what happens in the summer weather, and it starts like in the first week of, could potentially start in the first week of May. I was like, oh my gosh, that type of thing. So I was like, okay, let's go 40 days, which is Ascension kind of thing. We'll go 40 days from there forward, when I think Jesus was babbling away with all the apostles or whatever. So I was like, okay, then we'll set up the thing. I just think it's interesting that 40 days from now is Can Games, and they're still talking about as well right now with the with Gaza, trying to figure out how many days to get to the fall of Jerusalem to try to coincide it with Easter. So it's, I mean, people think this stuff in real life, as far as I'm concerned. Please let me know what you've been up to. It would be great to know. I'm just going to pop this one because it's really nice to see. There we go. And so please let me know what you've been up to. Yeah, April is National Poetry Month. And interestingly enough, I don't know if we're going to get to the scans as per usual. I did a couple of things, scans for the Atlas map, for 1917, and the opening page is from Wilfred Owen or Mr. Sasson or whatever. Oh, my God, you beat me to it, Brian R. Smith. And I swear to God, I was thinking you were going to do that anyways. Beat me to it, which is, yes, Decision Games says their ongoing sale of Dervell Creek and you get 25% off, Brian R. Smith, if you decide to go buy the whole set. I went and found out. I just was a delusional pretend option, as if I'm going to do it. I've got a zillion other priorities to do financially. But if I wanted to get it right now, I think it would cost $650 Canadian after, and I don't even know if that's including the duties. Oh my God. I was like that. No, not happening. Holy moly. So yeah, thanks for letting us know about that, Brian R. Smith. Yeah, if you guys want to, especially if you live in the States, what a wonderful thing. So yeah, April's national for the United States Poetry Month. I can't remember what it is for UNESCO or whatever. So I think it's in October or something. And in the April, remember, this is just little tiddly bits that I've noticed. In the April 3rd edition of the War Summary, it mentions where the enemy is strongly entrenched on the famous Vimy Ridge. And that freaked me out because that's the 3rd of April, not the, what is it, the 9th of April? I should know this, for God's sakes. I think it's the 9th of April, 1917, that the Canadians, the Battle of Vimy Ridge starts. So I was like, obvious. I don't know why is it famous is what I would like to know. It's already famous for me. It's going to be famous and a lot of Canadians afterwards. But I was like, I just thought that was interesting foreshadowing in the article. Anyways, thinking about how different as well, reading the war summary must have been to the readers back then compared to what it is for me. And I don't know about you guys as well. Just, I mean, it's, that it's happening in real time for them. And it's like, wow, I mean, they don't know what's going to happen the next day, and just think it's so neat. Also, in the April 3rd edition, yet again, of the War Summary, this blew me away. I was like, oh my gosh. So we were talking about this guy, just remember what, 2 years ago, or goodness sakes, in the Cameroons campaign, the French-Canadian Lieutenant General Charles Dobell, that was brought in after the initial British disaster in the Cameroons, when they thought it was going to go super duper ultra easy the way it went in Togoland, and that didn't happen, did it? Anyways, then they brought in Lieutenant General Charles Dobell, and he straightened everything out, whatnot. And anyways, now he's in charge of the British forces in the attack on Gaza. I found that out from the headlines this week or whatever. The War Summary. I thought that was pretty neat. They also mentioned the importance of the Lewis gun now. I think it's that portable version of the machine gun you got, and I should say in quotes, portable. You guys would know about this. The German Hymn of Hate. I remember seeing this at one point. Obviously, it's not a very nice thing, but if anybody knows about it or can bring it up, please let us pop it in. That would be great to see it in the comments. This is the first time I've ever seen an instance of this, that airplanes were used to drop gas bombs on Monastir. And I think it's the Central Powers that were doing it. Don't quote me on that for bloody sure. In the April 5th edition of the War Summary, it mentions that a famous regiment, I'm assuming this is a Canadian regiment, a famous regiment whose identity is not disclosed entered the enemy's lines. And I'm just thinking to myself, well, I'm assuming by now we could most likely find out who that famous regiment is, which I think would be kind of cool. According to the book, and if you guys could find help me out with this, this would be nice. According to the book by Hanson W. Baldwin, World War I, An Outline History, I've got it over there, and maybe we'll take a look at a couple of the quotes later on. The retreat of the Hindenburg Line, or Operation Alberic, that's the thing I would like to find out. Is Operation Alberic just the retreat to the Siegfried Line? Is that what that operation is? I'm not sure. Was from February 15th to the 5th of April, 1917. Yeah, I wanted to find out exactly when this was happening. Because, I mean, all this is coinciding with the preparatory attack of, like, with the British going, you know what I mean? Well, obviously, towards Vimy Ridge and whatnot. And then you've got the Nivelle offensive going towards, well, we're just about to find out, and not the smartest spot. Also from the same book, he mentions that the true importance of the Canadian victory at Vimy Ridge would not be fully appreciated until the following year. And I don't know yet. Maybe you guys would. What does he mean by this? What happens next year? Is he referring to the Kaiserslautern, the Ludendorff offensive, or the 100 Days offensive, the Allies' countermeasures? I don't know. Maybe you guys would know. And then this other beautiful quote. This is the thing. I was like, oh my God, it's so neat to see. Before long, the Germans knew as much as what was impending as Nivelle did, because supposedly he was just could not keep his mouth shut about this. I mean, they knew everything. It was just bizarre. So they just, anyways. So please let me know what you've been up to on it. Obviously, any games, but I would prefer to hear about Great War related games. That's for bloody sure. Also, since someone like Meandering Mike has played it about 5 or 6 times, and other people probably know about it as well. The World War I, the SPI game, 1914 to 1918. I think I made an error at the beginning here right now with the Central Powers. I should have maybe stocked up a bit more Austro-Hungarian troop armies towards Serbia, because they don't have any CRPs, those combat resource points. So I think I could have really pushed them back. Darn it, I didn't think about that. But anyways, it's a little late now. And here we go with the engagement questions as well. One's a follow-up, if you want to call it that. Given all the social upheaval going on around the world, Russian Revolution, strikes, the food riots, the upcoming French mutinies due to the Nivelle offensive and whatnot, how fearful was the establishment? Oh my God, this is the beautiful thing about the thing I just clued in. This has popped in, and darn it, he's not here, William Arends. His ATA this week was, oh my gosh, was it a dandy. And, well, they are every week, but this one was just like off the charts. I don't care if I'm Meandering Mike, I don't care if William Arends shows up right now and said, by the way, I've got the most incredible freaking expose or something that I just found out about the Kaiser's been sleeping with Prince George, King George or whatever. I don't want to, like, I wouldn't care. This, like, his ATA this week was just fantastic. And it comes up with a lot of this stuff. It's really, really, really good stuff. How fearful was the establishment, the people in power, afraid of what was going on? So there's my question. And here's your follow-up. Why was there not a global social reconstruction, the new world order going on right now? I mean, obviously it does happen, in Russia and whatnot, but I mean, why doesn't it happen globally? Oh my gosh, here we go. Thank you, Brian R. Smith. Operation Alberic was the withdrawal. Okay, so it is from the 2 German salients taken during the Somme to better defensive positions on the Hindenburg Line, not the February to 20th of March. Thank you so much. Awesome. Gal, what's in, like I said, there's so many, different whatever. So I wasn't sure exactly, was it the formation of the Siegfried? So thank you. Here we go. And like I said, Tolemykus, you are not allowed to, but you get some bonus points right off the bat. Who in the world would be phoning me now? Jeepers jumping. I'm going to see if I can turn off the volume. Let's see if I can do that. Wouldn't that be? I think I did it. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm sorry. No, Tolemykus, you're going to get bonus points. It just freaked me right out when you did it. So here we go. I'm going to go with the first banner. All right, I've been in the news. Oh my gosh, of course. And I also said, yeah, it's somebody babbling away there who doesn't clue in that I've got a live show on every freaking at this time. It's like, will you just go away for talk to me later? Jeepers jumping. Any hoots, here we go. There's your first clue. I've been in the news a lot. I've been in the news recently. Not a lot, but I've been in the news recently. Like I said, and Tolemykus clued in. Son of a bee, did you ever? So should I give you retroactive points there, Meandering Mike, for your antimatter chitter chatter there beforehand? Here you go. So there's your next one. Oh, excellent! There you are. Speak of the devil, and guess what? You probably don't even know what I just said, William Arends, so I'm going to have to repeat it. I have returned and just sent you another part of ATA for this week. And guess what, William Arends? If we get to it, we get to it. But I'm going to say this. Your ATA, when I was editing it this morning and reading it upstairs, wow. That's all I got to say. Amazing stuff. Really. It's not just that. The person who wrote it, the wording is just bang on, man. I was just like even when they start talking about the building there of the tunnel there under the channel, and the person is saying, the French want to cement it. I was like, oh my God, that's like a double meaning right there. I just loved it. Income tax, man, Mike, you're getting a point for flipping sure. Hold on. But you are incorrect. All right. And like I said, Tolemykus gets bonus points. That was incredible. Did I? Oh, yeah, I didn't put it in the banners. Hold on here. Or did I? Yes, I did. But did I put it in the comments? Yes, I did. Goody. And Mary Mike says, and he goes, outcome tax. Right on. And you're getting a point for it. Yeah, you're reminding me of that Doctor Who thing there when they were taxing everybody like left, right, and center in this one episode, and then the doctor's like, "Well, why don't you guys have a double vision tax for people with two eyes?" Oh my God, it was just going on and on and on. All right, let's hold on here. I got to put that in. Did I put it in? No, I didn't. There we go. William Arends says the ethnic Slavs of Central Europe. No, sorry, you are incorrect, but you're getting a point. Thank you. Where the heck is Charles Latora? I hope he's doing well. And, well, we know that Harro Bosma's in Paris or somewhere around there. So here's your next clue. You could say that I really took off after my time at the Royal Botanical Garden in London. And Meandering Mike's peace negotiations. Oh, I really, really like that one, but you are incorrect. And I'll put it also in the banners. There you go. And then I'm going to grab another one. Oh my God, I wonder what Tolemykus is doing right now. He's probably feeling something like I do sometimes when people are like maybe getting so close to the answer, but yet they're not saying it and you know it. And you, Tolemykus, know the answer. William Arends says Victory Gardens. Oh my gosh, do I ever like that one too, considering what has been going on, and kind of in an odd way based on the poster of the day that or the World War I image of the day that I put in today. But you are incorrect, but you're getting a point. And let me put in the next thing here and put in the comments. Some wonder if Germany's reliance on railways made them unaware of how important I would become. Who or what am I? There you go. Oh my God, I would love to know what Tolemykus is thinking. Military aircraft, William Arends says. Boy, this is like a tit for tat right now with Meandering Mike and William Arends. But you are incorrect, William Arends, but you are getting a point. That is for sure. I'm hopefully the next dirigibles, Meandering Mike says. Oh, you guys are really on your thingamajigs. But no, you are incorrect, Meandering Mike, but you're getting a point. That's for bloody sure. And now I'm going to give you your next clue. Blood and iron might be all good for what you need to win a war, but they are a poor substitute for me and many things I am found in. And I can say the Germans gave it a shot anyways. That's all I could say. They had trip hop. Oh, cool. Meandering Mike, you're getting a point. but you are incorrect. And no, I'm not going to try to wrap any of this stuff. That's for bloody sure as well. We know that. Okay, your last one. Jesus. Okay, this one I'm sure you're going to get. And I'm really surprised even Zoe Dufour hasn't even posted a clue. What is wrong with her? Jeepers jumping. There we go. Here's your last clue. I'm going to put in the banner here. All right. There would most likely have been many more sexually transmitted infections, including perhaps pregnancy, if you want to consider that one a sexually transmitted infection, if it were not for me. Meandering Mike says condoms. Almost. Yeah, it's, oh my God. Meandering Mike, think of I'm trying to help you out here. Think of a slang term. Oh my God, even get a bit more slang than that. Yes, Meandering Mike. Well, we'll just stick with the. We'll go with you there. Yes, you're almost kind of there. You go, but we're gonna go with the rubbers. Yes, and then I'll try to explain. Thank you guys for all your stuff. Yeah, so Tolemykus ends up sending me a freaking thingamajigs, no glove, no love. Right on, I love it. Oh my gosh, that's excellent. Tolemykus, I was thinking about lunch enough for about 20 hours on the go since yesterday, including sleep. Wow. It knocked my socks off. I was just like, I was starting to feel like, oh yeah, it was rubber. It knocked my socks off. Well, let's hold on here. I'm going to get rid of the banners. That was excellent. Oh my gosh, what did I do? Okay, I thought I did something bad. I was like, oh no. Don't start doing that. Hold on here. I'm in the comments. Hide. Okay, now we're back to normal. Now I can go back to banners and get rid of that. Is it? No, I see where we're going. Okay. I've got a ton of other stuff. That's right, because you got Harro Bosmas. I've got all these other banners that I put in. We're 22 minutes in, as per bloody usual. All right, so yeah, you're right on. Tolemykus for sure, and Meandering Mike. So hold on here. I'm going to get into the point. So they're good. I'm going to get rid of me for a second. So here's this from World War I, the encyclopedia thing, as you know. And I'm going to, we'll just leave it at that there. Just very quickly, I want to go through the little bits about rubber. And the reason why I brought in the historical gardens here, it says, I didn't realize that rubber actually comes from two different sources. I didn't know, I thought it was just from the rubber tree plant, but they say it's also from this kind of acacia plant or whatever that was found in Africa. But then later on at the Royal Botanical Gardens, they were able to make enough seeds, I guess, to be able to transport all those seeds and start making plantations in their colonies in Asia and whatnot, which upset the entire market. And the British were, of course, super duper ultra happy. And then like the reliance yet again about the railways and whatnot, that the Germans didn't clue in that automobiles and that type of motor transportation would be super duper ultra important later on. And then, yeah, we found out about condom use and whatnot. This guy, I can't remember his name, Mr. Fromm or something, was able to, where is it? I can't remember. The first rubber condoms, there we are, which had a continuous seam and were still not considered to be very reliable, were probably invented by Goodyear engineers. But in 1912, the German industrialist Julius Fromm discovered a diving technique. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking. I'm just adding, like, come on. Think about what it's used for. To produce a seamless sheath and thereby found the solution still in use today. Okay, so there you go. And now we're back to this, and I'll put me kind of with the thingamajig, because let's go into some fun stuff. So thanks a lot. That was excellent. And we will, Tolemykus, get to your thingamajigs. Oh, hold on here. Very optimistic. God, get some rubbers. Have Goodyear. Oh, wicked. I love that. That is, oh my God, how the hell do you do this, man? I swear to God, you should have like a side. Do your freaking, well, you are having your side thing. You're using this show properly, as far as I'm concerned. We will get your thing. I just wanted to show a few other things, Tolemykus, and I swear to God, we will get your thing. We did get a little, but not both of them. Okay, and I'm just going to say this as well, yet again, Brian R. Smith, if I'm driving you nuts with Montreal or whatever, if you're like, for the love of God, Chris, stop connecting me with Montreal. I don't want to hear about Montreal anymore. You have to tell me. Otherwise, I'm going to keep doing it, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to stop the screen for a second because I did find another bloody article about Montreal. And here you go. And it was weird. I was like, what the hell? So that's why I want to share it with you, for goodness sakes. So there we go. You guys can see that. And I'm going to bring it in bigger so you guys can kind of see it. So it's funeral in boats. Novel method necessitated by flooded streets in Montreal. This is on the 30th of March. Streets being flooded by the spring thaw necessitated a funeral in Turcotte, a suburb of Montreal, being conducted in boats yesterday. The police, who assumed charge of the funeral arrangements, secured the boats and took them to the home of the deceased. What in the hell? The boat conveying the casket was rowed through the streets till higher ground was reached by the officers and was followed by 10 boats accompanying the whatever. Anyways, I just wanted to bring that because I was just like, that's just like off the charts crazy as far as I'm concerned. So we're going to remove that and bring me back to there. Boink. So I hope you enjoyed that. I did. That's so there we go. The Grog's Shed and Blackadder goes forth. So that was the part of the banners. I'm going to bring them in here if I can find it. There it is. So this is the Grog Shed. He didn't know that if I knew about Blackadder goes forth, and I did know about it. Well, I didn't know about it until Dad versus Son had mentioned it to me and said, "Hey, did you know that Blackadder does a little thing there of goes for during the Great War?" And I had no clue. Anyway, so here we go. I'm gonna hide this bit. I'm gonna give it a shot. For goodness sakes, it's like ye old for whatever. I'm going to take a copyright thingamajig if I can find it. Hold on here. There we go. It's just the theme song, for goodness sakes. I'm sure a lot of people know. I know a lot of people are always like, oh, it's not the way the world, who cares? It's a bloody show. Jeepers jumping, relax, Hold on here. Present. Boink. You guys can see that. Excellent. Put it in, and there we go. That boink.
Right and center. Kick march.
Wicked. All right. Hopefully you like that. I did. And look who it is. What's his name? Tony Robbins? Is that his or Tony? Oh, I do this all the time. I get them wrong. So you guys, oh my God, there's comments I didn't even notice. Rail yards at the Turcotte district doesn't exist anymore. Oh my gosh, cool. Massive highway interchange. Whoa, trippy. Okay, who is that guy? The historian. He's actually been knighted now. He does the Time Team, for goodness sakes. Even Zoe Dufour, you've watched it a ton of times with me as well. And then let's go there. I'm gonna loop back because we're 30 minutes in, and I also want to. It's really cool. The video of the year. The video of the week is Germans capturing Mark IV British tank. And it's just neat because they do the typical stuff. What do you think people do? They eventually hop in the tank and they start driving over things. It's like, hey, what can the tank do? I'm like, oh, this is so neat. But it's just kind of weird, to think this is what they did. I mean, they captured each other's technology, especially back then, at least from what I've been finding out about. Well, I even saw one video. My God, the Italians are dismantling an Austro-Hungarian airplane. I'm like, why are you doing that? I don't know, but it was like, I guess you have to find out all the little parts of how it works. But anyway, so hold on here. Let me go to present the screen. Yep. So this is from my email thingamajig, but I wanted you guys to see this. So yeah, because there's some nice little things here. So this is coming up in a couple of weeks, I do believe. The World War I Historical Association, they're here and there. So yeah, that's on the Saturday, the April 12th. And it's about searching for John DeWitt as a book narrative nonfiction. I decided to write revolving around 8 letters my grandfather wrote home to his family when he was a runner in the trenches in the Rainbow Division in World War I. Oh, thank you, Meandering Mike. That's exactly it, Sir Tony Robinson. So I was getting him kind of mishmashed with that tall motivational dude or whatever. So there you go. And you can see they've got the whatever. As far as I know, they don't care if you're a member or not. They just want people there. And as well as this letter from down under, the charge of the bayonet waving Australian horseman. I didn't read it or any of that, but there's a interesting looking map there. Capture of Beersheba. Ooh, neat. And what is that? Situation at 1917. So that, but it's not till October. Halloween. So anyways, there you go. And I'll pop this back to this. And boink. Yeah, I'm not kidding you, Manny Mike. I didn't know he was in that show. Sir Tony Robinson. I was like, oh my God. There, like, it was just like, wow, this guy really likes his history. That's for sure. Eh? All right. So, oh yeah, let's go to the video of the day, and then we're going to get into all the, because I certainly want to make sure we get into William Arends' ATA because it knocked my socks off. But we're going to, hold on here. I want to stop the screen. Then I want to present this one just to show you the stuff we're not going to be talking about. Oh, brother. If you guys know about this game, I would love to find out more about it. Is and of course it's, the Battle of Cambrai is coming up, not for a while, but still, to the green fields beyond the Battle of Cambrai 1917, which is neat because actually the video of the week is from that. Actually, I think it's due to the Battle of Cambrai. That's how they got one of the tanks. And then yeah, this is coming up next Thursday at the Canadian War Museum. I've got a ticket for this. The World at War speaker series, Canada's Unknown Soldier and the Legacy of War. And I get to meet the historians ahead of time because I'm a member. Ding, super duper nice. I have not listened to this, but I just found it rather interesting that it kind of connects with the fact, well, you just see right below there. So anyways, the Not So Quiet on the Western Front at Spotify episode, they've got 69 now, I think. They're part 1, so they got part 2. I haven't listened to either of them yet. But the neat thing is the lecture that I still haven't gotten around to watching, but it's on YouTube right now, is An Enigma in Red Stripes and Gold Braid, which is about Falkenhayn. And of course, connect the dots, for goodness sakes, there you go. Well, we just saw the World War I Historical Association. The Education News got some really darn nice stuff about it. The Atlas Scans for 1917, like I said, and then a couple of poems. The Outline History book, and then that Nicholas Burt thing that he had done a version 2 of his solo miniature system bot, which I think is super duper great. Okay, let's go to the video of the thingamajig. Yeah, that will make sense. And then we're going to go into the other stuff. Hold on here. Oh, there it is. I can go straight to it. Don't even have to get into YouTube. That would be nice. Yeah, it was so weird when that you know about the Turcotte district, Brian R. Smith. That for a little bit, I was like, oh my God, imagine if you lived in that district or something kind of thing. It would be weird. But okay, doesn't exist anymore. Oh my God, I see what I did wrong. Hold on. We do have to go to the YouTube thing. So I popped in the actual link to the Critical Past website. It's been weird. So hold on here. Oh, darn it. I'll tell you, one of these days, I've got some picture of how perfection would be for these live streams. Ah, it'll never be. I wish. Oh, brother. Oops. It's just not going to happen. It's there in my mind, in my delusional little mind. I see it. So, oh, there. Hold on here. I haven't taken a look at what Meandering Mike says, which is great. Meandering Mike says, to the green fields beyond what one. Oh, it did really. Charles S. Roberts Award, 1978, for the best 20th century game. Well. We're going to have to go and take a look a bit more at that at some point. I don't know if we'll be able to get to it today. But here we go. I think you guys are going to enjoy this. It's only 2 minutes and 31 seconds. It's a super nice. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. I think you guys are going to too. Yeah, you can see that pretty good. I mean, it's EA. They're all excited. Well, I think they are. Especially when they start like driving over a lamppost and stuff. Oh, brother. The thing I love about this video, actually, in particular, is there's so much good actual footage of the real, like you know what I mean, like big, like look, we're getting a wicked shot of the profile, even with the low res and the crazy watermark and all that stuff. Especially, I find you can see that thing at the top there. I can't remember what it's called. That thing that pops over that it can allow them to go over a trench or something. I love this guy too. It's like, get the hell out of the way, dude. What are you thinking, man? I know you're trying to tell the driver or whatever to point, but he saw the bloody thing, man. I'm just saying, he probably can't hear you going, stop or help. You know, things loud. But look, you can see like the size of like, look at the way the treads are. It's really neat. I mean, I'm sorry. They feel like I just like a bunch of kids, eh? Hey, Camp Sawyer, great to see you. Yeah, right on. A Mark IV. So they certainly started getting things. I'm pretty sure this is the video that I watched a few, but I'm pretty sure this is the one they nail a street light with. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, come on, this is really cool to be able to see exactly all this little bits. Okay, so it isn't this one, it was another one. All right then. Sorry about that. You'll have to wait till another time to see that one. Anyways, okay, let's go into the other stuff then. Okay. And then I swear to God, we are 20 minutes because you did get me going, Meandering Mike, about you certainly did get me going about thinking about the To the Green Fields. So let's take a quickie look. Let's do that. All right, and get rid of me. Boink. And then I'll make this ever so slightly bigger. And then we'll go and take a look at some images. Or let's take a quickie look at what it says here. To the Green Fields Beyond is an operational simulation of the Battle of Cambrai in 1917, the first great tank battle in history. And there we go, and all this stuff. But anyways, let's go take a quickie look. So it's nice to know that... oh, that drives me... Okay, maybe that wasn't... Oh, good. I love that type of look to it. Except I know that a lot of people are not a big fan of... well, no. It looks like some things are hugging the trench lines. I mean, the hex lines. I know that some people are not into... I'm going to have to go this way to... Let's take a look and see how the... Counters look nice. Those registrations a little off. A big deal. And the other, whoa. Well, that's the end of that. Thanks, Meandering Mike, for getting me to take a look at it, because I probably wouldn't have. So there we go. Now we're going to get into the good, well, what I think is Tolemykus's logic puzzle, and then the ATA. I didn't do a week that was this week, so we're not going to need one anyways, because we're going to run out of time, as we bloody know. So here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I'm going to get rid of me so we can see it better. And I just love starting off. Hold on here. Camp Sawyer says, great game back in the day. Love a reprint. Oh boy, that would be nice, especially due to the fact that Decision Games keeps mentioning every 5 freaking seconds with their surveys, hey, let's do this, that, or the other thing. I do know that I noticed, Camp Sawyer, that in the outline of that game, it said something about Through the Mud and the Blood. And I know there's a game system or something that I think I've seen it on Wargame Vault. I can buy the print and play versions of a Through the Mud and the Blood or something, or Blood and the Mud or something. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but maybe somebody would know about that. Anyways, let's go to this. The World War I narrative logic puzzles, or free form scenario starters. And this week, hold on, I'm getting rid of something you can't see, and then make sure that I get right to it properly. No, we've done that one. We have so many more to go. It's crazy. And I'm just going to say this yet again. I know I keep saying this. And there's another drinking game. Saying trust me, or I know, or every time I say that, I mean, you'd be, like I said, you'd be dead from alcohol poisoning in no time. But I am getting around to the other things. I just, the problem with me is I'm trying to do, as per usual, too many things, and then I end up not getting things done, or not enough done. Oops, here we go. John Gorgowski in the trenches, Through Mud and Blood. That's probably what I'm thinking of. Thank you. I'm getting things all discombobulated in my head. Thank you very much. You know what? I want to see me a tiny little bit. There we go. Sorry. No, we've done this one. We've done the Ghost Army. That was with the French. Oh my gosh, all these things I'm starting. Like, thanks, man. Like, you got to, like, thank you. I'm just so grateful for this stuff, man. You guys are just amazing. We just did that one last week, especially when I kept on trucking with Corvinus Wargaming when he gave the correct answer. So here we are, the disappearance of the Golden Cipher, Ottoman Turkey, which I wanted Corvinus Wargaming. Hopefully he'll watch it later on and try to clue into this one. Hopefully you guys can see this fairly well, though. The disappearance of the Golden Cipher, Ottoman Turkey, 1917. Oops. And the new title in 2024 from Three Crown Games, Mud and Blood, Wooge, 1914. Okay, thank you. So, oh my gosh, this is getting crazy then. I got to run. Catch the rest of the show later. Great to see you, Camp Sawyer. Hope you're doing well. In 1917, as World War I raged across multiple fronts, the Ottoman Empire faced mounting pressure from both internal rebellion and the advancing British-led forces in the Middle East. The Ottoman intelligence network, relied on encrypted messages to coordinate troop movements and suppress uprisings. One of the most valuable of these was the Golden Cipher, a complex code book used to relay messages between high command and field officers. If it fell into enemy hands, the consequences would be devastating. Turkish battle plans, supply routes, and spy networks would be exposed. Meandering Mike, are you getting ready for Option F? Just going to say. A new title, as in a new game, not a rename. Oh, yes. Yes. Thank you, Meandering Mike. That's what I assumed it was as well. But it's still that all these phrases, you know what I mean, as you know as well. That, oh, my God, the worst is probably, what is that? Are they even from the same company? I don't think so. What is it, GBWACW and all that great campaigns and great battle? I can never get those. I'm like, whatever, people, whatever. Late one night in Constantinople, intelligence officers discovered that the Golden Cipher had gone missing from a locked safe inside the War Ministry. At the same time, reports surfaced that an unidentified British agent, possibly working with Arab rebels aligned with T. Lawrence, had been seen in the city. To make matters worse, a known double agent within Ottoman ranks had been caught sending coded messages to Cairo, but it was unclear if they had stolen the cipher or were merely a distraction. Oh, well, you guys don't know yet. That's why. But when I recorded the war summary, they brought in the romance of the taking of Gaza and whatnot, and so on and so forth. And then I mentioned T. Lawrence, and this person brings it up. Tolemykus brings it up as well. Meandering says, create a new series, The Great Battles of the Great. Oh my God. Oh, Jesus H. Christ. Why do I do this? I just give you a freaking whatever and away you go, man. Like a wow. Anybody gives you anything and off you go. That's the way your mind works. With British forces advancing through Palestine and Arab revolts growing stronger, the Ottomans had less than 24 hours to recover the golden cipher before it could be used against them. I know. Anyway, shush. Question: if you were in charge of Ottoman counterintelligence, what would be the best course? You ready, Meandering Mike? Because it's going to take me. I'll slow down and allow you time for F. A, immediately seal off the city's ports and train stations, preventing any suspect from leaving until the cipher is found, the golden cipher. B, spread false information through Ottoman intelligence channels, ensuring that if the cipher was stolen, it would contain misleading data. C, launch a rapid raid on the suspected British hideout in Constantinople, hoping to recover the cipher before it is smuggled out. D, torture the captured double agent for information, pressing them to reveal whether they had the cipher or knew who did it. E, oh my God, there's still no F. What's going on? E, burn all remaining Ottoman code books and issue entirely new ciphers, even though this would delay communication with frontline forces. Maybe they captured Meandering Mike and he's not able to give an extra one. Oh, he escaped just in time to reveal option F. F. Paint the letters A, D, F, G, V, X on golden cipher, on golden crisps, apples, and bake them in a pie and smuggle them. Oh, bloody hell. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. Oh, bloody hell. I love you to bits. That's for sure. Hold on. William Arends says the Ottoman Intelligence Service is a component of the Ottoman Sunset game. Really? Designed by Darren Leveloff. Do I have that one? Yes, that's the one I have. The one upstairs that I have. I think it went on sale at Board Game Bliss, the one near your place there. No, not the one near your place, William Arends. I'm thinking of, oh, darn, it doesn't matter. Best War Games, I do believe, or something like that. But thanks for mentioning that, Crisps. Yes, I got that. But the golden cipher was called the, okay, thank you. Thank you. I just thought you were just being some weird Greek Turkish thing that I just didn't know anything about yet. All right, there we go. And clues and false reports. And we've got to stop at this. No, we can continue on. And then we're off to this amazing ATA. You're going to freak. Clues and false reports. A servant at the War Ministry reported seeing a hooded figure leaving the office before dawn, but their description was too vague to identify. A merchant in the Grand Bazaar claimed to have overheard English speakers discussing the book, but it was unclear if they were spies or simply foreign traders. A fake golden cipher was planted by Ottoman intelligence in case of theft, but it was uncertain whether the real one had been stolen or just misplaced. A courier bound for Jerusalem was caught carrying encoded messages, but swore they had nothing to do with the cipher. Some officers believed the theft was an inside job orchestrated by high-ranking officials who wanted the empire to collapse. Discussion topics. How did espionage shape the outcome of World War I, particularly in the Middle East? Big mother time. Hold on here. William Arends says another one. Answer E would be the best use of resources, eh? All right, hold your horses here, William Arends. Darn it, it was, remember that whole thing there with trying to get the uprising with Islam and so on and so forth. Oh, darn it, the Bureau of the East and all that stuff, and the smuggling with these submarines and the smuggling of gold and weapons, and even a freaking prince, for goodness sakes, in the sub. They're just nutty buddy stuff. What role did the Ottoman intelligence service play in countering Allied operations? How did deception and false intelligence impact major military decisions? What were the risks of relying too heavily on coded messages during wartime? Could a single document, like the Golden Cipher, realistically alter the course of war? All right, let's go back to what William Arends. William Arends, you think answer E, eh? And then we're off to your ATA there. Burn all the remaining Ottoman code books and issue entirely new ciphers, even though this would delay communication with frontline sources. Well, guess what, William Arends? You're going to have to wait a week to find out the answer. Only I know the answer, and so does Tolemykus. Yeah, that's the way it works. All right, so here we go. We're into your amazing ATA. There's so much good stuff here, man. It's not funny, William Arends. Thank you so much. Translator's note. Here's an article from the Berlin News that tries to show the tensions between England and France. Oh my gosh, this is really, really good stuff. It is the desire of the German right not only to threaten the USA and help bring about the revolution in Russia, but also dream of a day when France and England are once again enemies. Kind of maybe loosely connected to maybe my engagement of the week question, maybe loosely. Whatever the actual wartime tensions were on the Western Front, this article attempts to show that they were close to breaking the Entente and changing the course of the war. Yes, I really think this is awesome to see. That's why I was like, oh boy, man, for a dandy. Also, I'm sorry. Remember, I do edit your document a little bit, William Arends. I don't like fiddle around with a lot of stuff, and I don't even remember. Tolemykus says, whoa, my God. So I'm the only, well, unless you go and read your own stuff, but otherwise, I guess that's kind of cool. Anyways, I like, for example, I love capitalizing the word war for the every time in the Great War, that type of thing. That's about the only real big, or I add commas for myself. That's it. Otherwise, William Arends, I don't fiddle. Really, I mean, as if. I mean, I don't want to start messing with your material, for goodness sakes. Anyways, I'll shush. Well, I can't remember where I went. Whatever the actual wartime tensions were on the Western Front, this article attempts to show that they were close to breaking the Entente and changing the course of the war. Berlin's latest news, a non-partisan newspaper, the 24th of March, 1917, the evening edition, The Worm in the Wood, which made me remind me of Wormwood. I'm sorry, it just did. The Screwtape Letters, C.S. Lewis, a veteran of the Great War. And that's cool, really good book. The Intentions of the English in France. The Zurich Post reports at length that in the department of Calais, the English have acquired at enormous prices real estate from the French citizens. Entire towns have been taken over by the English. The possibilities of all these deals is that these purchases of land is an end in itself, which has been undertaken by an advanced guard of English. Hold on, my voice is toasting out here, isn't it? This land purchase has greatly changed the position of England towards the building of a tunnel under the channel between Calais and Dover. Before the war, it is well known that England refused this plan, no flipping kidding, and stood hard against it. The government in Paris wanted it to, and see what I mean? Like the guy, like, I mean, but yet it's German being translated into English. I just think this is so cool. The government in Paris wanted it to cement the young friendship between the two nations, but London did not bother itself to respond to this overture, rather finding pretext to reject it. They publicly made clear that such a project would put their security at risk. Thus, the desire for the tunnel remained only on the French side. The war has changed the English attitude about this and made them see the need for the tunnel completely differently. Namely, the U-boats have given England the realization that they could one day be completely cut off from the rest of the continent. The recommended solution to this was to go a little under the earth to build a connection with Europe. Besides this, the English, through the events of the war, have unexpectedly found themselves in a fortunate situation on the soil of France. And this position puts them in place to have control from both sides of the tunnel that runs underneath the channel. Nothing explains better the change in the attitude of the English towards this project. It also explains the purchase of land that will, through the rights of private property, lead to political control of the land. Excuse me. Whatever France wants, England does not care to know. It is only known that England today controls France. France also feels this risk. In Paris, where people earlier supported the planned Calais-Dover tunnel with such eagerness, now the population has little desire for it. The press does not express openly much about this French mistrust of the alliance with the English. Only occasionally can it be hinted at that this is being felt. Neutral travelers to France, however, have continually observed it, and it is to be found as well in the letters that the French have sent, most of all from educated Frenchmen, but also from the masses of the people. This especially holds for the letters sent by the prisoners of war held in Germany. They write about the mood in their homeland. We were thrown into this war to win back Alsace-Lorraine, but perhaps we will not have that chance to win it back, but rather could now also lose through this war Calais, the Artois, the Picardy, and we believe that we could also lose Normandy. So as they see it, they are concerned about this English control of their land. This concern about their ally has now found its way into the London newspapers through its French correspondents. In the newspaper, The World That We Share Here, the English read about this strained relationship with France. This is conveyed, though, the words and general observations of a French woman from Paris, an intelligent person, who says, and here we go, "We give much thanks to the English Navy. Well, what has the English Army accomplished? Do you know that in Rouen, 500,000 English Tommies are stationed in the rear, 250,000 stand by in the Le Havre, and another 1 million are spread all around the city of northeastern France, drinking it up, pouring it up, most likely." Sorry, I'm ad-libbing. Oh my God. How many do you believe are actually in the frontline trenches? And they better be wearing those rubbers. The entire real war is being left to be fought by our army, the French. And it was intentionally done that way, even though I do know that the British, I think it was worse, were the Canadians. But we had atrociously high STI rates due to the fact that we didn't use them. And it was intentionally done that way. Oops, that was kind of like a bit of a slip as well there, right? This was done so that the English could be in place for the next war when England would once again go into battle against France. So there we go. That's the end of that. And we're 2 minutes away. Not bad, man. I'll stop that because we finished this. We'll take a look at the things that... so thank you so much, William Arends. I just thought your ATA this week was freaking amazing. Really, really darn good. Yeah, we could do a little tiny bit. Why not? Hold on, I got to get into the picture still. And boink. That is a function of the German capitalization of all proper nouns, such as Krieg, which I don't always have to put into the lowercase war. Thank you. But, and I won't do it, obviously, with the Krieg. I mean, I wouldn't do that with that. Anyways, hold on here. Let's go into... So this is the... Oh, actually, I would rather show you the... well, we still got a bit of time, so why not? Let's start. I really miss, of course, I miss Charles Latora. Goodness gracious. Oh, yeah, I wanted to show you that. We might as well do that because that's a community contribution for sure. Hold on here. I want to get in. So Harro Bosma is not here, as we know. He's in Paris and that area. I'm going to get rid of me for a second. There's the Caporetto 1917 map that he's got on his thingamajig. And let's go and make it the width. And we've all agreed this is a beautiful map. My goodness gracious. And just fits his table. Let's put in his banners that he popped in some things here. I have to find it. Here it is. Hi, hey Chris, here's a picture of the map laid out on the table. I will not have much time in the coming 2 weeks, but have started setting it up. It is amongst the most beautiful maps I have in my collection and fits my table perfectly. Have a great week, and I'll send you pictures of the World War I museum if I make it. Best regards, Harro. Let's take another quickie look, and then we'll look at some other stuff. I mean, it's not the best res, but what do you want? It's probably from his phone, for God's sakes. But I love, it's a nice contrast. I mean, you guys said, well, we've all agreed this is a beautiful. What I think is really neat is, yes, at first I thought, oh no, it's those secret hex line things. But no, the hexes are there. They're just really, really faint. Wow, is that ever nice? Really, really nice. Okay. And now I'm going to wait and show you another map. Hold on. I want to get back to make sure that I'm not. There we go. And then I want to get into the Atlas pictures. So this is for 1917, and it's a weird thing. So it is Siegfried Sasson. And I'm going to get him to, hold on here. I'll put in a little, oh, I think we just missed, nope, I didn't miss anything. So hold on here. I'm going to pop in this a bit, make it a bit bigger. So this is just the front part of the chapter for 1917 of that Atlas book. And I thought, oh my God, I might as well scan it in since we're in the National Poetry Month. And here we go. Light many lamps and gather round his bed. Lend him your eyes, warm blood, and we'll. I'm not going to read this because I'm not a very good reader. I don't want to kill his poem. So there you go. But I would love you to take a look at it. And maybe I'll put it on my thingamajig. That makes sense. Let's go to the maps. There we go. But this I'm going to probably have to put in properly. So there we go. So these are the first two maps for that I grabbed for the scan. Oh, here we go. Siegfried Sasson and Wilfred Owens, great war poets. I know you've mentioned both of them to me repeatedly, and we're like, for God's sakes, please read some of these, Chris. And I've read a little bit, not nearly as much as you, I'm sure. So here we are, preliminary British attack designed to draw the German reserves away from the French sector of the front. This is going to be for the Nivelle offensive. We know this is going to be Vimy Ridge is coming around in the just around. And there we go. And then where's number two? Number two, first French attack designed to break through the German trench system and to form a pincer movement with the British attack. And then number three, main French attack intended to destroy the Germans already caught in the Anglo-French pincer. Once the Germans were driven beyond Guise, it was thought that they would ask for an armistice and agree to evacuate France and Belgium. The strongly fortified Hindenburg line, to which the Germans withdrew, and Brian R. Smith got us the proper dates and everything for Operation Albrecht, when they learned in advance of the proposed Allied offensive. And remember, Nivelle was a big mouth, told everybody and their dog what was going on. So they just brought all the stuff there. And then the second one, from attack to mutiny. And we're going to find this out very, very soon. And I think, is this not the case, Meandering Mike? Has this got a little bit to do with a very long engagement? The thing that you brought up last week for the 3-year anniversary, I think. From attack to mutiny, April to June 1917. Brian R. Smith 6 clearly shows the German salients they withdrew from. Yes, monstrously so, man. April 9th, there we go. So it is the 9th. So 4 days away, my goodness. And wait, I don't know if who's ever going to sound, okay, sounds like the right timing. Thanks, Meandering Mike. Is anybody sticking around for the after hours, which you should be doing pretty darn soon, is you can see there's a lot of trench raiding going on and a lot of preliminary poking around along the German lines of where the Canadians are going to mount their attack. It's, you know, no coincidence. April 9th, where's the number one? Do you guys see the number one there? Oh, area evacuated by the Germans in March 1917 when they learned of the French plan. While withdrawing, they destroyed all the defense works, bridges, railway lines, and supplies, which might help the Allies. And we've been seeing this time and time again, hearing about it from multiple sources. Edith Wharton's mentioned it. We've seen it in the, even the Germans mentioned it. William Arends brought it up in the ATAs that they were doing this type of stuff. Ernst Junger in Storms of Steel brings it up that they were doing this, trashing the French places and whatnot. The poor German school teacher that signs the armistice later on in 1918, they purposely drive him the long way to the train car so he can see the devastation that the Germans do, and so on and so forth. There we go. A very long engagement was the Somme. Okay, thank you, Meandering Mike. So it's not. No, where are we? Number 2. 9th to 15th, preliminary assault by the British and Canadian troops. They drove the Germans away from Arras and after severe fighting captured the Vimy Ridge, but they were unable to advance more than 4 miles or to capture Douai and Cambrai as hoped. But like that book said, the outline history, that perhaps this is, oh my God, I hope we get to it super quick. We will. Because, well, it doesn't matter. We're off into Wonderland here a little bit. But anyways, there you can see where all the stuff we're going to find out about the mutinies. Hold on, I do want to go to the outline history. Darn right. Because it knocked my socks off the way he writes about the beginning of 1917. I was like, whoa, neat. So this is one of the books that I picked up at the Book Bazaar. 1917 was a year that history will long mark well. I mean, my goodness. Remember, William Arends, you and me were both apprehensive for different reasons, but some overlap about what was going to, about 1917 coming, and here we are. 1917 was a year that history will long mark well. The United States forswore the advice of George Washington against entangling alliances and joined upon a war to end war and a crusade to make the world safe for democracy. In Russia, out of the gutters and ghettos of Eastern Europe, there rose to power a national revolution and international conspiracy. Wow, Lenin and all kinds of crazy nonsense. It's more, well, I mean, you know, with the Germans bringing them over. It's Morden effects, and then later on, the Allies saying, stay in the war. If Morden effects still sway the world almost half a century later. War propaganda, foul whisperings are abroad, fan the flames of emotion. Some of it was true, most false, but verily, the fiction mongers could not match the real enormity of slaughter, and the war became bigger and even bigger. British artillery in France, this knocked my socks off. The number, man, in France increased from 749 guns and 882 howitzers of all calibers on the 1st of January 1915. And look how quick. 3,433 guns and 1,574 howitzers on January 1st, 1917. Holy cow. I'd like to see the percent change in that. The Western Front. The Allied plans for 1917 contemplated decisive and nearly simultaneous attacks on the 3 main fronts in the West, in the East, and in Italy. As usual, the best laid schemes of mice and men, I don't know how to say that, and events superseded hopes. Germany, her armies feeling the strain of a multi-front war and weakened by the Somme, was outnumbered in the West in January 1917. Almost 4 million Allied soldiers faced 2.5 million Germans. German plans contemplated, therefore, a defensive in the West, unrestricted submarine warfare at sea, and aid to Austria against Italy. And holy smokes, do they ever give them that in Caporetto? General Neville, the ebullient boaster who succeeded Joffre, sold himself to the French government on the basis of a ruthless and violent offensive. He planned a great blow of a gigantic fist against the flanks of the same salient, the huge Noyon bulge, that Allies had been trying to reduce for 3 years. But again, the Germans moved first. And I wonder if that must be, I guess, Brian R. Smith, that must be your thing. Kubrick's 1957 Pass of Glory would be good to see in this context. Oh my gosh. Yes. And my God, Brian R. Smith, what a freaking film and a half. I still knocks my socks off. That trench, like when they go towards the anthill, that is done in a set. I'm like, when he's blowing the whistle and everything, I'm like, just still floors me that was done on a set. I'm like, come on, that unbelievable. This time in retreat, not attack. From February 25th to April 5th, under Ludendorff's skillful direction, the German armies conducted a staged withdrawal from the Noyon Bulge to a series of much shorter prepared positions known as the Hindenburg Line. The Germans called it the Siegfried Line. Oh my! And I'm not. Look, I want to see me a little bit because it makes me feel weird as well, not seeing you guys and just whatever. And I'm going to do this in the after hours later. No, because I don't know if Zoe Dufour is still watching or still there, but I would like to watch that film with her, Pass of Glory, so I'm not going to say anything. But it was shocked. That film shocked the hell out of me, man. Shocked the hell out of me. Gang after play, glay. Go after stray, a line from the poetry of Robert Burns, the Scott poet. Thanks, man. This is awesome stuff. Oh my God, man. Cool. Thank you, William Arends. Thus, the retirement helped to meet Germany's greatest need. Reserves behind them in the abandoned salient they had held so long. The Germans left a scorched earth. Here we go again. Wells were poisoned. Wreckage booby-trapped, villages, roads, trees, and railroads obliterated. There was no sign of human life, only a vast wilderness the Allies had to build as they followed the retreating foe. I'm going to stop because my mind is going a mile a minute here, and I would like to get into after hours. That little bit, I can get rid of this. Don't need to see that. But I do need to get at least prime it. Is this? There's a passage in the Ernst Younger book. Hopefully, I'm getting it right again, Meandering Mike. The Storms of Steel. That bit there when he's talking about when he's looking around, he says it's almost like a scene, a madhouse from hell or something, where he's watching flames dancing all over the place in the wrecked village, and he's watching soldiers walking around with funky hats on and dresses they've stolen from dress shops, and they're just smashing, like knocking down walls and stuff. And thank you, man, Mike. And I just that passage, it's just so visual in I find, and he's just I will say this. My God, that was it. I'm so glad you brought this up again, Meandering Mike. When you mentioned last week that he also wrote sci-fi, I'm like, what in the world? I would love to go and I don't care. It could be terrible sci-fi. I would just like to just read it. It would be kind of neat. Anyways, let's go to the playlist and get the after hours thingamajig. And yet again, say super thank you to everyone for your contributions, for being here. Such a motivation. It's not funny. You bring so much to the table. It's not funny. So much knowledge. You guys help me out. I just say one thing, like, what is this? Boink. Less than a minute later, someone pipes up. Just incredible. Awesome stuff. That's it. I'll pop in the after hours thing. I hope you guys have a great weekend, a great week. I hope this went well. Hold on here. Excellent. Thanks, man. I got to write this down. And you guys are going to have to just bear with me while I write it down here. EUM, because I'm not, because as you know, sometimes when I go to watch the show later, there's like this, I don't get to watch the chat right off the bat. Sometimes they do whatever. Okay. EUM SWIL. Thank you so much. That's it, and off we go. I'm going to go and pop on the after hours and turn into a little texter, just like you guys. When I turn off my thingamajig. Hold on here. Boink. And get rid of me entirely. That's it. Thank you, guys. See you later. Bye. Well, I'm still going to be here, but you know what I mean. Okay, bye. All right, here we go. Live stream 114, the war summary for March 30th to April 5th, 1917. And holy smokes, the big stuff that was happening now. Here we go. A smashing defeat of the Turks took place at Gaza, associated in biblical lore with the exploits of Samson. The Turks mustered 20,000 men. 900 prisoners were taken, including the whole of the staff of the 53rd Turkish Division. Heavy losses were inflicted on the enemy. Among the prisoners taken were 4 Austrian officers and 32 Austro-Germans of other ranks. 2 Austrian howitzers were captured. The Turks attacked in force on Monday and Tuesday, their object being the capture of a military railway under construction by the British. Under the command of Major General Sir Archibald Murray were several English line regiments, Anzac troops, and cavalry. The British troops moved out from Rafah to Wadi Ghuza, 5 miles south of Gaza, a distance of 15 miles to cover the construction of a railway. Gaza is nearly 50 miles southwest of Jerusalem. The occupation of the Holy City by Easter would be a dramatic blow at Turkish rule in Palestine. The Mesopotamia campaign, which is linked up with the operations in Palestine, is proceeding satisfactorily. In his War Office Weekly Review, Major General F.D. Maurice, after confirming victory at Gaza, states that General Maud has reached a position where he is awaiting the advance of the Russians. Everything goes well, and the difficulties of supplies and transports are considerably lessened. If things go as expected, General Maud should be able to trap a large number of the Turks now streaming across the border passes from western Persia. The British advance is slackening, according to a statement issued by Major General Maurice. The slowing up of the British forward movement on the Western Front is, he adds, due to transport and supply difficulties over ground that has been devastated and rendered almost impassable by the retiring Germans. In addition to the difficulty in feeding the troops and bringing up water and munitions, some time must elapse before the big guns are in position to renew the offensive against the increasing resistance of the entrenched foe. Okay, just going to say this on a side note because this is the way it works with after hours. This looks like some kind of mechanisms or something I would love to try and see if it could be modeled. I'm sure it has in a game. In other words, the player who's on the offense, if that player wants to continue the offensive right away without, the more time elapses, the more artillery can be brought to bear and your offensive strength can go up. However, on the flip side is the other side can start increasing, like they say, the resistance of the entrenched foe. Oh my gosh! And when do you pull the trigger? That is, I just love this stuff. Anyways, fighting the open will soon come to an end. As General Maurice says, the Germans now reached a trench line front from which nothing but trench-destroying guns can move them. He cannot say whether the enemy's present position is along the Hindenburg line, nor will this be definitely ascertained until the Allies are in a position to commence an assault. The work of reorganization along the new front will take some time. It is significant that the War Office contemplates an early resumption of trench fighting. North of Soissons, in the Margiral sector, artillery fighting between French and Germans was intense yesterday. Vigorous cannonading took place also in the Champagne region and in Lorraine. Otherwise, the day was relatively calm on the French western line. The French have occupied the village of Neuville-Bougenval, east of Ytre, after a short engagement during which the enemy losses were heavy. East of Arras and near Neuville-Saint-Vaast and Neuve-Chapelle, successful raids were made on the German trenches and dugouts destroyed. Aerial fighting and scouting are responsible for a heavy toll on the flying corps. 2 German machines were brought down yesterday, and 3 British airplanes failed to return. The present German line of defense, according to military experts at the front, is not intended to be permanent. The opinion is freely expressed that Hindenburg will fall back on the Belgian frontier. If the French break through below Saint-Quentin, they would roll up the enemy's flanks. The remarkable progress made by the French through the Coucy and Saint-Gobain forests is hailed as an indication that Hindenburg does not intend to hold his present lines. To the British advance at Coisel, the enemy continues to offer strenuous resistance, apparently attaching great military value to this position. Will Spain have a revolution? Widespread unrest due to food shortage and the suspension of constitutional guarantees leads officials at Washington to regard the lookout as far from hopeful for the dynasty. The symptoms of unrest bear a very close resemblance to the premonitory signs in Russia. The effects of the revolution in Russia are being felt in every country. Unless the authorities in Spain can grapple successfully with the problem of food shortage, revolutionary uprisings may be looked for throughout the country. Germany's submarine warfare has been the immediate cause of the food shortage in Spain. And I wonder if that's also making people quiver a little bit in countries like England. Anyways, the German chancellor, in a speech in the Reichstag, deprecated war with the United States and endeavored to show that if war came, the responsibility would have to be borne by the American Republic. It looks as if, having provoked the conflict between the two countries, the Prussian warlords dread the verdict of German socialists who are growing more fearless in their attacks on the government and court. The romance of the desert campaign in the Near East has yet to be written. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, that just sounds so cool because we know about Lawrence of Arabia coming. Oh wow, this is just so neat. But I mean, the person doesn't know that. How the British pushed their way from Suez towards Beersheba, laying the steel rails as they went, has been told in official dispatches. Thousands of Egyptian natives were organized as a labor corps under British officers. Then east from the Suez Canal at the rate of a mile a day, holy moly, the steel rails were projected while alongside was built a macadamized road capable of bearing the heaviest military transport wagons. Vast numbers of camels with 12-gallon tanks on their backs carried the water. Oh yeah, I want to find out how much 12 gallons weighs. The water transport for a single brigade being a mile long. Over the desert, this wonderful army of railroad builders and fighters moved, occupying El Arish and planting the British flag at Magdala and Rafah. There's water in the northern part of the Sinai Peninsula, but it is salt water, which in the summer heat dries into sheets of solid salt as white as snow. The nomadic Bedouin is the native of this territory, the fruit of the date palms, supplying him with food. Oh my God, you remember, I think they actually snagged that dude that was working at the Panama Canal. Remember, they brought him all the way over to help with figuring out how to transport water. For that campaign specifically, I'm pretty darn sure. The opposing armies are now in contact. We talked about this. The opposing armies are now in contact along the Hindenburg line, but pending the bringing up of guns and supplies, which is hampered by bad weather, a lull was succeeded the recent heavy fighting along the Western Front. German official reports admit the continued withdrawal in front of Cambrai, on which the British are steadily advancing. The Kaiser, it is reported, has visited the Western Front and urged the German troops to hold the new line at all costs. With the coming of dry weather, military experts are of the opinion that a further German retreat is possible, owing to the weakness of their new defensive positions. Interesting developments are expected soon north of Arras. Between Bertincourt and Roisel, the British have advanced their front, capturing the village of Riaucourt, Sorel-le-Grand, and Fin, and pushing to the outskirts of Puy-du-Court. South of Neuville-Bourgeois, the capture of which was reported yesterday, a counter-thrust by the Germans was defeated, with loss to the enemy. Counter-thrust. Well, that's a fascinating way of putting it. The occupation of Riaucourt brings the British up to the outer fringes of the forest of Havrancourt. The upward swing towards Cambrai is steadily maintained. East of Neuville-Saint-Vaast, the British inflicted losses on the Germans when they raided their trenches at 2 points. The guns were busy on both sides during the day. On the Canadian, oh gosh, and here we go, man. This freaks me out. We're going to get to it pretty soon when he talks about the famous Vimy Ridge. I'm like, whoa, we haven't even attacked Vimy Ridge yet, and they're calling it the famous Vimy Ridge. I'd like to find out why it's called the famous Vimy Ridge before we do it, which is on the 9th of April. Anyways, shush. On the Canadian front, raids have been carried out to feel the strength of the opposing forces. Oh, I wonder, eh? Probably to figure out what's going on here. According to Stuart Lyon, oh my God, they've already been practicing, man. They had fake trenches in this whole area. Oh my gosh. Canadian press correspondent, the enemy's strength on this front is now known. These preliminary operations seem to presage early fighting on this northern section of the British line. You have no clue. Berlin Dispatch, which lacks confirmation, states that fighting is taking place along the Canadian front. Oh my God, it's just so neat to know. Like, we know Vimy Ridge is about to happen. A midnight dispatch from Mr. Lyon says that raids on the German lines on Friday night showed that the enemy is holding his main position in strength. Snow and cloudy weather is interfering with the work of the aerial signalers who direct the artillery fire. Oh my God, here we are. The Vimy Ridge and the Crayon Plateau west of Léon are the immediate objectives of the Allies in the Western theater of war, according to a dispatch from London. There are indications, it says, that the British will make an effort to outflank the Vimy Heights, while to the French falls the task of turning the enemy's positions on the Crayon Plateau. Preparations for this big undertaking are underway. The French recovered lost ground in the Champagne region in the west of Maison de Champagne and in a vigorous counterattack. The prisoners taken numbered 63. The elements are taken and still not at the famous Vimy Ridge. It's coming, man. I swear to God. The elements retaken have been held by the Germans since Wednesday last. North of the Somme and between the Somme and the Oise, the fighting yesterday was confined to artillery. Progress was made northeast of Soissons in the Vragney-Margival sector. On the Belgian front, sharp fighting took place at Steenstraat when a Belgian raiding party entered the first line of German trenches at the bridge of Steenstraat. Heavy losses were inflicted on the enemy and some prisoners brought back to the Belgian lines. I just think it is interesting, though, because at least I don't hear enough about the Belgians. So it's nice to hear about this. You know what I mean? I'm always thinking French, British, against the Germans and whatnot. It's nice. The importance of the Champagne operations is liable to be underestimated unless the relation of Champagne to Verdun is borne in mind. Failing in his offensive at Verdun, the Crown Prince last month launched his right wing at the French positions in the Champagne, smashing through 4 lines of strongly defended trenches and capturing 800 French prisoners on Hill 185 and at Maison de Champagne. The lost ground has been recovered, the temporary occupation costing the Germans dearly. A German advance in this region would endanger the French line at Verdun, as the scene of all the fighting in the Champagne is only 10 miles from the Paris-Verdun railway. The cutting of this railway east of Reims would isolate the French forces at Verdun, hence the persistence of the Crown Prince in the Champagne region. Hold on, I'm just going to take a sip. Submarine operations are exaggerated by the Germans, says Sir Edward Carson in an interview with the Associated Press representative. The losses, while serious to neutrals and belligerents, do not exceed the estimates on which Britain bases her anti-submarine policy. As for starving out Britain, this boast of the enemy, declares the First Lord of the Admiralty, is quite illusory. Neutral countries have suffered more from the German submarine campaign than the belligerent nations. Norway has officially protested against the German blockade of her northern coast. These protests may not influence Germany, but they will have a money value when the day of settlement comes. Wow. The defense of Constantinople, which General von Mackensen is reported to be organizing, like I said, the Swiss Army knife of the Germans, man, will tax all the resources of the Ottoman government. It is unlikely that Turkey, for the remainder of the war, will be willing or able to aid any of her allies. I don't know about Magic the Gathering or any of those card thingamajigs, But imagine the General von Mackensen card, I'm sure would be a kick-ass card to play in your deck. Jeepers jumping. Of these half been used up in the fighting at Gallipoli, Armenia, Mesopotamia, Arabia, Egypt, and by the ravages of disease to which Oriental armies are subject. About 500,000 men are now available, but as these are scattered over the various fronts in the Near East, the bulk of them operating in Asiatic Turkey, the task before the Ottoman government, is much greater than that undertaken at the Dardanelles. To the regular forces in the field may be added 50,000 Turkish reserves, about 200,000 conscripts of the 1918 class already called up, and a reinforcement of 60,000 Austro-German troops, which have been kept at Constantinople to maintain order and to prop up the present government. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but it's the underscore there for that bit to connect them. I wonder if that was just a typo. To prop up the present government. Enver Pasha, I love this one. This was so cool. I just kept yet again thinking of Austin Powers. Enver Pasha, the evil genius of Turkey, will aid Mackensen in the task of reorganization. Sorry, but the people of Turkey have no love for the Germans. According to military experts, Constantinople will fall as soon as the combined British and Russian armies bring their guns to bear on the city from the Asiatic shore opposite. But heavy fighting may be expected before the British smash their way through the Sicilian Gate. Whoa! The pass through the Taurus Mountains near Adana, which is one of the strategic keys to the Turkish capital. The other two, Erzurum and Trebizond, are in the hands of the Russians for been a long time now, too. German troops are guarding the approaches to Constantinople. The immediate plan of the Allies in the Near East is to destroy the Turkish forces in Mesopotamia and Persia. News regarding the success of the British and Russian armies in these regions should soon be received. The fighting grows more serious on the Western Front as the Allied forces close in on Saint-Quentin, one of the most important points on the Hindenburg Line. On this front, the British and French have joined forces and are converging on the doomed town with a concentrated weight of men and guns. The Cambrai-Saint-Quentin road is now under the fire of the British guns. Épinay, an important junction of the railway lines between Arras and Saint-Quentin and between Cambrai and Péronne, was captured yesterday and is strongly held by the British. The British, during the weekend, captured in all 10 villages, some of which were stoutly defended by the enemy. Did you notice that too? The weekend is two separate words. The French have resumed their offensive after a temporary lull and have made progress towards Lyon. North of Arras, the British are maintaining their pressure on the enemy's northern flank. The fate of Saint-Quentin is sealed. West of Saint-Quentin, heavy fighting took place yesterday. The British captured the village of Savy, penetrating a mile. General Haig's forces next attacked the Savy wood and now occupy that position, which is only 3 miles from Saint-Quentin. The midnight official report also announces the capture by the British of the villages of Vandel, farther north on the Saint-Quentin-Croiselle Road, and Épinay and Piézières to the southeast of Huidecourt. When the British took Savy, 60 prisoners and 2 machine guns fell into their hands. The enemy's casualties were heavy, both in killed and wounded. Along the front of a single battalion, 70 German dead were counted. Further progress has been made by but I don't know how many are in a battalion. Maybe 1,000, I think, or something. British to the northeast of Croiselle. The German official report admits that the German pushed their lines into the German positions on the Somme to a depth of 2 miles. Northeast of Neuville-Saint-Vaast, east of Luce, and north of Ypres, the British carried out successful raids during Saturday, destroying many dugouts and capturing several machine guns and prisoners. A German counter-raid was defeated at Neuville-Saint-Vaast. I swear to God, I did not make it up about the famous Vimy Ridge, but it's starting to look like it, isn't it? Southwest of Lyon, the French have captured several important trench systems, reaching the outskirts of Vouillon and La Faux. Between the Somme and the Oise, the guns are in action. The French advance towards Lyon was made south of the Ayet River in a vigorous offensive, which brought the French to the Lyon Road east of Neuville-sur-Margival. The enemy made a stubborn attempt to hold the villages of Vauillon and La Faux. Here, over 100 prisoners were captured, including 2 officers, and 4 machine guns were added to the booty. In Mesopotamia, the British are pursuing the remnants on the Belgian front. Artillery and trench fighting continue. And what the hell? That's a weird one. Like, how did that, like, think about this. In Mesopotamia, the British are pursuing the remnants of the, what? That got screwed up. You know what I mean? Of the vanquished Turks. Ah, so they screwed up here a little bit. See that bit? All right. Because, okay, let's go to this little bit here first, and then I'll go back. On the Belgian front, artillery and trench fighting continue at Dixmude and Steenstraat. In the latter section, bomb and grenade fighting were resumed, and along the entire Belgian front, the guns are now actively engaged with the enemy. The increasing activity along the front lends confirmation to the reports that interesting developments are expected north of Arras. Yeah, it would have been interesting developments if you're in Mesopotamia, for Christ's sakes. In Mesopotamia, the British are pursuing the remnants of the vanquished Turks along 3 lines of retreat. The Turks are now split up apparently into 3 detachments, one retiring along the Euphrates, the shortcut to Aleppo, one along the Tigris, and the third following, it's interesting, and the third following, on the back of the Diyala to link up with the Turks retiring from Western Persia. I wonder what in the world happened with this paper, eh? On the Euphrates, and it wasn't a Friday, I don't think. Hold on, I could maybe find out. We'd say it's a Friday afternoon thing. Anyways, I'll shush. The friendly Arabs must be in considerable force in this region and will doubtless be operating in conjunction with the British. The Turks retreating northward from Baghdad and westward from Persia joined forces near Deltawa and Sindhia, east of the Diyala. During their advance, the Allied forces have encountered considerable difficulty. The British had to negotiate quite a number of small canals, the relics of an age-long canal system. Oh, interesting. Another game thing to think about, into which apparently the Turks had diverted the river. Bridges had to be constructed across these obstacles, impeding the British advance. Darn right, it would be good for a game. The Russians had to fight their way through the mountain passes, which at this season, what in the world is going on with this thing, man? This is crazy. Oh my God, it's like someone was drunk doing this, man. Because now we're into the freaking, now we're all over here. The Russians had to fight their way through the mountain passes. I don't even know how to get back to, holy shit. This is just crazy. Here we are. Kirban is 60 miles to the north of Baghdad on the Diyala, about 30 miles from the Persian border, from which the Russians are now advancing from Kirin. At Deltawa, the Turks attempted to surprise and envelop the British forces, but were defeated and are now in full retreat in this region. An encircling movement was attempted by the Turks last Thursday, but after repeated attacks, the enemy completely failed and is now in full retreat along the Shat il Adain. Yeah, I don't know what in the world to do up there. I'll just leave it. And hope to God this doesn't keep on trucking this way. Holy moly. The pillaging and systematic devastation of northern, oh yeah, this is another neat thing to read about. Remember, we also mentioned that about when WNN mentioned to us about, oh, you should go take a look at the BBC special 37 days, that, 37 hours or something, or I'm thinking of something else. Anyways, about the armistice, and then they get the poor teacher there, the German dude that signed it off, and they they purposely drove him through the devastated parts of France to show this is what you guys did to us. And then we read a little bit about Edith Wharton last week talking about this. And then Ernst Junger mentioned it in his Storm Steel book about the craziness that was going on as they were, withdrawing to the Siegfried line and all that project. What's Albrecht or something like this? Anyways, here we go. And here we go again. We're talking more about this. The pillaging and systematic devastation of northern France have aroused the bitterest antagonism against Germany. The French Senate on Saturday passed a resolution denouncing to the civilized world the barbarity of the enemy. who as a signatory of the Hague Conventions has violated her solemn obligation to respect the rights of non-combatants and to refrain from wanton destruction of property. Germany sets little store on moral force, which is a big factor in war. Her reckless disregard for life and property has fired the French people with an intense hatred of the German nation. The resolution of the Senate states that this hatred against Germany is the most holy of duties. France solemnly declares that no one today would think of making peace with such criminals. The fiery cross has been sent through the Republic, rousing the people to a supreme effort in what is now a war of revenge. Germany, of course, oh my gosh. I mean, think about this, like throw another freaking log on the Franco-Prussian Barbie. That's the way I'm looking at it here. Holy moly. Germany, by her brutal methods, has banged the door against a favorable peace. For France, it is a fight to the death, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Us. All right, here we go. Where are we at here? I've got halfway through. Oh my goodness gracious me. The entry of the United States into the war is now a foregone conclusion. The president yesterday asked Congress to declare that a state of war exists. Okay, I could tell you what yesterday was. Hold on here. So April 2nd was what? That was a Sunday. No, that's impossible. So that would have been April 1st. So that would have been the Monday. Because they didn't know Tuesday. We jumped a jump one. I guarantee you that one. All right. So this, yes, this is a, yeah. Hold on here. No, that would have been a Saturday, but a Monday for us. Oh my God. Sorry about this. He also urged the raising of 500,000 men by universal military service. No action is to be taken against Germany's allies at the present time. I'm sure Austria is happy. While the president was preparing to meet Congress, the news arrived that one of America's armed merchantmen, the steamer Aztec, had been torpedoed and sunk by a German submarine in the prohibited war zone. I do find that kind of ironic due to the fact about Mexico and the Zimmerman telegram, and now we've got a steamer called the Aztec getting nailed by it. Anyways, always can find things, eh? Closing in on Saint-Quentin, the British have pushed forward to within 2 miles of the town. During the advance, several more villages northeast of Savy have fallen into the hands of the British. Saint-Quentin is in flames, according to a report from London. The Germans are defending the positions with great stubbornness. On the northern line, the British have advanced along a 10-mile front from Arras to the Bapaume-Cambrai road and captured Coisel after sharp fighting. North of Arras, raiding operations in which Canadians have been engaged have been of almost daily occurrence around Neuville-Saint-Vaast, where the enemy is strongly entrenched on the famous Vimy Ridge. It is reported from France. Remember, we're not doing it yet, though. From France, that Saint-Quentin has been. So I'd like to know why it's considered famous by the Germans, but the report is not officially confirmed. The British northern advance met with determined opposition as the enemy was strongly entrenched and fought with great tenacity. After being driven out, the Germans counterattacked, but the enemy was dispersed by artillery fire and never reached the new British lines. In the advance on Saint-Quentin, 400 German dead were counted in Savy Wood, which was captured by the British on Sunday. In the advance yesterday, which would have been April 2nd. In the advance yesterday, 6 field guns were abandoned by the enemy. In the German official dispatch, it is stated that the Germans, before Saint-Quentin, withdrew in obedience to orders. Has Hindenburg decided to abandon the new line? Well, hold on, let's figure this out. Yeah, because it would be Thursday as our Saturday. All right, I'm pretty sure I got this right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I like that one. Has Hindenburg decided to abandon the new line? The Turkish casualties in the recent battle in Gaza numbered 8,000. Holy shit. Of the British forces engaged, less than 400 were killed. Lieutenant General Sir Charles Dobell. Yes. Oh my God. I forgot to mention this. I think I may have put it in though, whatever. Come on. This is the guy from the Cameroons campaign. I'm pretty darn sure. I didn't go check it up though. Darn it. Lieutenant General Sir Charles Dobell. He's a Canadian. Was in command during the engagement. Lack of water forced the British to abandon the pursuit of the enemy. And it's been done for a long time, so now I know where he's at. Lack of water forced the British to abandon the pursuit of the enemy. Taking up a defensive position south of Gaza, the British were attacked by the Turks on Tuesday last. The Turks were repulsed with heavy losses. The British Camel Corps engaging and defeating the Turkish cavalry. Cool or what? The British force has withdrawn to Wadi Guza, the primary object of the operations. By seizing Wadi Guza, the British forces are able to cover the advance of the railway that is being built, which I think is an oasis. Oh, darn it. What was I going to talk about? Yeah, Charles Dobell. Remember, we talked about him ages ago. On the Canadian front, the men in the front trenches at a certain point were amused when a German deserter came forward armed with a safety razor, an extra pair of boots, and a box of cigars. The cigars he distributed among the boys with lavish generosity. When asked if he intended returning to Germany after the war, I like this. I was thinking about Charles Latora. He replied in the negative, declaring that it was his intention to go to Chicago as soon as peace is declared. All right. The development of Saint-Quentin was advanced another stage yesterday when the French carried defended positions on a 9-mile front from north of the Somme to the Oise. The British also pushed forward on the Saint-Quentin front, capturing Miasami, a village to the northwest of the town and overlooking the road to Cambrai. A German counterattack on the British positions at the captured village of Templot-le-Gural was repulsed. The German position at Saint-Quentin is fast becoming untenable and may be evacuated at any moment. Well, it's still there, considering 2 days ago you were saying it was over with. Just saying. After prolonged fighting, the British occupied the important village of Hanet-sur-Cougel, 5 miles southeast of Arras. This victory gives the British control of the railway running from, imagine if you had to drink every time I screwed up a pronunciation. You would be dead from alcohol poisoning before I got to page 5, guaranteed. Bouvin to Amiens, and links up with the villages captured on Monday. At some points, the British left wing is now within 8 miles of Cambrai. A heavy blizzard was now blowing when the British northern advance was made. The bombardment of Rennes by the Germans invariably follows a reverse. It is now a way they have of singing the hymn of hate. Oh, darn it, we got to look that up again. I remember we took a look at it. It's not very nice, obviously. To the accompaniment of the guns. In a spirit of revenge for the British and French pressure on the Hindenburg line, over 2,000 shells were rained on the ruined city, killing a number of civilians. Furious fighting in the Champagne region is proceeding around Butte de Mesnil, and Maison de Champagne, where the Germans are resuming their offensive. In Alsace, the German force was decimated when it attempted to reach the French trenches. The struggle for the mastery of the air goes on from day to day. Oh man, I'm just loving my life right now. I just love doing this stuff, even though it kills my voice. And when I start doing it, I'm always like, oh my God, I'm doing the war summary. It takes forever. It's like I'm trying to wait to eat my, Brussels sprouts at the very end. I don't mind Brussels sprouts now. I've shaved them and fried them. They're wicked. Made considerable progress in aerial construction, apparently, by the number of casualties daily, pointing to increased aerial activity. Yesterday, 8 German machines were brought down by the British. 6 British machines are reported missing. A German protest to all neutrals against the decision arrived at by the United States government shows that the German statesmen lack a sense of humor. Well, I don't. It is worthy of notice, however, that the report that Germany contemplates such a protest states that Germany hopes by this means to influence South American republics by denouncing President Wilson's policy as perilous to their interests. Like, trust me, man, you are like, no one's listening anymore. They know where the money's at. By a remarkable coincidence, a dispatch from Mexico City announces the dispatch to Ecuador and Colombia of the acceptance by the Mexican government of an invitation to a meeting in Montevideo of representatives of American nations to decide on a common policy with the object of bringing the European war to an end. At the same time, rumors are again afloat that Austria-Hungary is pressing Germany to make another effort to bring about peace. These peace rumors come at a time when the temper of the Allies is resolutely averse from making terms with Germany, while the Hohenzollerns are in power. A movement is on foot in England to foment revolution in Germany by a public declaration on the part of the Allies that no terms will be made with the, oh, here we go again, Hohenzollerns. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, come on, Chris, this is something you're going to be doing for years and years. You might as well get these basics done, these basic ones done, for God's sakes. What purports to be a copy of the new peace proposals is published by the Berlin Lokal Anzeiger. It begins, like the last, in boastful tones, claiming to be unbroken on all fronts. It ends with the customary note of defiance. Between the lines may be read a keen anxiety on the part of all the enemy governments to find a safe retreat from the present hopeless outlook. And maybe if you put lemon juice on it, you'd be able to read the secret stuff between lines. Oh, just shut up, Chris. In the United States, it is expected that, I'm just enjoying myself. In the United States, it is expected that Congress will on Thursday officially declare that a state of war exists. In the meantime, all the departments are busy putting the finishing touches to war plans. Give me money. The United States Navy has taken steps to cooperate with the Allied fleets. The enlistment of recruits in increments of 500,000 will be carried on until sufficient men are trained and equipped to ensure the defeat of Germany. I mean, come on. Just saying, as a side note, even if you weren't like directly related to the war, I'm sure if you were a Department of the United States and in charge of whatever, I'd be like, is there any way we can get some extra cash out of this? Other necessary plans for industrial and financial aid and the war measures contemplated are being hurried through. Once the United States gets into the war, there will be no limit to the support the Republic will give the Allies. In the British House of Commons, the news was received with deafening applause. No flipping kidding. On the outskirts of Saint-Quentin, Anglo-French troops are pressing forward. Yesterday, the French outflanked the Saint-Quentin defenses by driving the Germans out of dominating positions to the south and southeast of the doomed town, a position of great importance extending through the village of Grige, Ouvilliers, and Moy was captured. North of the Folie farm in the same sector, the French advance was so rapid and their attack proved so irresistible that the Germans cleared out in great haste from 3 lines of trenches. The fighting was carried on during a blinding snowstorm, but despite the muddy condition of the ground, the pressure on the new German line was never relaxed. On the whole front between the Somme and the Oise, the Germans are fighting desperately to retain their ground, yielding reluctantly and stubbornly to superior forces. The fighting north of the Folie farm was short, sharp, and decisive. I've seen that name mentioned many, many times in games. The Germans, surprised by the weight and dash of the French assault, were thrown into confusion and bolted for safety, leaving their wounded behind. 3 howitzers and several of the German aircraft fell into the hands of the French. The trenches were well protected by wire entanglements, but these proved of no avail when the French troops hurled themselves against the German position. Jesus Christ, that does not sound very nice. At the southern bend of the line, the guns are heavily engaged in the region of Margival and La Faux. The German official report admits the French advance at Saint-Quentin, but describes it as a violent reconnoitering attack, and it's the last page, here we go, and states that the German troops abandoned the positions step by step, making the French pay in sanguinary sacrifices for the ground gain. Isn't there a song like that, step by step? Anyways, enemy aviators bombarded Monastir with asphyxiating gas bombs. I think this is the first time I've ever seen any mention of gas bombs being dropped by airplanes. It's just like, whoa. According to an official Serbian report received in London, 47 persons were killed and 29 wounded, mostly women and children. This is the case. Like, I'd like to find out why that was, like, what was it like? just amazing. Many houses were destroyed. Monastir was the bait that was dangled before Bulgaria. I'm sorry, that is just a creepy, creepy sentence. Like, what does that mean? The Allies dangled Monastir? Like, oh my God. Like, to get, just weird, man. The Serbs, aided by the French, mind you, remember the Monastir right now is the temporary capital for the Serbs, I do believe. The Serbs, aided by the French, were assigned the difficult task of wresting Monastir from the Bulgars. In the region west of the Vardar, the road to Monastir is mountainous, but the advance to Monastir brings the Serbian army under Prince Alexander within sight of their native land. It was a hard and difficult country in which to fight, but it suited the Serbs. The value of Monastir to the Allies is not so much strategical as political. Its possession was one of the prizes of war for Bulgaria. Its loss will do much to dishearten the Bulgarians, as they now see all the advantages of an alliance with the Central Powers vanishing into nothingness. Artillery and rifle engagements took place north of Monastir yesterday. Hold on, take another little sip. British merchant vessels sunk by enemy submarines for the week ending April 1st, and including 2 boats not reported in the previous week, numbered 18 vessels of 1,600 tons and over. And April 1st, which would have been a Saturday for them, and so I guess that's their end of their week. Remember, start of the week could be, you get the idea, so Sunday they wouldn't publish. Of British vessels under 1,600 tons, 13 were sunk in the same period. Vessels unsuccessfully attacked by submarines numbered 17. I will say this, I've never understood the fascination with people putting all these numbers of like tons of, I'm like, I don't get off on that, this bit about boats and whatever, but maybe I'm missing the point. The failure of the enemy to blockade the British coast is shown by the sailings to and from British ports, which reached a grand total of 4,680 vessels of all nationalities. In addition to the merchant vessels sunk, the British Admiralty reports the loss of a minesweeper, which struck a mine on Tuesday. 24 of the crew are reporting missing. On the Canadian front, operations are still of a minor character. Night and day, the guns pound the enemy trenches and communications, and almost nightly raids take place. Since Sunday last, 7 raids have been carried out. There is no respite for the enemy. During one of the night raids, says the Canadian War Records weekly report, a famous regiment, and I would love to know who they are, I'm sure we can find out now, a famous regiment whose identity is not disclosed, entered the enemy's lines and damaged his dugouts and organization. Now, wouldn't that be an interesting little thing? I'm sure you got to find this out. Oh, 100%. In a second raid, the Canadians drove a German post from a crater, and from this vantage point, inflicted heavy losses on the enemy by bombarding them with the bombs they had abandoned in the crater. Oh, yes, and now the Lewis machine gun. The Lewis machine gun plays an important part in some of these minor engagements, and that's that portable machine gun now, I do believe, all portable in quotes. The enemy's counterattacks are weak. In no case during the past week has a German raiding party entered the Canadian trenches, and I 100% chance you guys know more about the Lewis gun than I do, so pipe up. The British are pressing forward to the west and north of Saint-Quentin. The enemy shows no disposition to retire from the town. Yesterday, the Germans launched a fierce counterattack against the British west of Saint-Quentin in an effort to recover the 6 guns which the British captured the previous day. Hand-to-hand fighting took place around the 6 German guns, which the enemy succeeded in reaching. Whoa! Clubbed rifles were used when the hand grenades gave out, and after a fierce fight at close quarters, the British drove the enemy back and dragged the guns to a place of safety. It was a fight after the British soldiers' heart. The total prisoners taken numbered 270, including 8 officers. On the Belgian front, field and trench artillery are engaged night and day around Dixmude and the Ferryman's House and the Hestas. The German guns shelled Ramskapelle. Remember, Tolemykus looked it up for us. Got a big, huge chunk thing for the Ferryman's House for us, man. It was super nice. A British mission will visit the United States to discuss with the government at Washington plans for close cooperation between America and the Allies. The report emanates from the Westminster Gazette, which is in close touch with the Lloyd George government. In a speech yesterday, which lasted 3 hours, Senator La Follette attacked the will. Oh, I love this one here. This was cool. And I think I put it in the little thingamajig. Attacked the Wilson cabinet for espousing the cause of the Allies. The speech was described by Senator Williams, who followed as pro-German, pro-Goth, pro-Vandal, and anti-president, anti-Congress, and anti-American. Under the stinging rebuke, La Follette left the chamber, keeping within hearing distance of the speaker. The war between the United States and Germany forced all grain and provisions upward on the Chicago market yesterday. For future deliveries of wheat, the price soared to $2.02, more than double the market price in days of peace. There was great excitement over the war when the wheat market opened, and price for future deliveries at once broke the war records. And remember, we found out that shredded wheat has been doing freaking amazing during the Great War. Anyways, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you have a great remainder of your weekend. Have a great week. And hopefully see you on live stream 115. And hopefully that went well. See ya.